My name is Santiago Cordoba. I'm one of the owners at Adsmood, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at it. I think it's very basic and very obvious, but I think it's due to being the only format that is focused on engagement, right? When you think about the ad formats, you see static, you see videos, even if they are AI created or they are 2D or 3D or anything else, any other sauce that you would like to add to video. The truth is that Playables are the only engagement ad focused format. And it's like a short demo of the actual game, even if it's a fake gameplay or it's an actual demo from the game itself. Uh, so that I think it's the main reason why they work so good. And the other reason has to do with, I think that when Playable Ad appeared maybe 10 years ago or something like that, everyone was talking about video, right? And I think that we talked about this in our previous conversation, but everyone was talking about video. And before that, everyone was talking about static, right? And I think 10 years have gone by and there haven't been any other ad format that could not I'm not talking about replacement, but at least add some value to publishers and developers rather than Playable Ads, right? So I think we are in the verge of something new, any new ad formats that could be as good as Playable Ad, but for now it's like top notch. I would definitely recommend developers and publishers to have a few and try them in different ad networks. But I think those are the two main reasons: engagement and that there haven't been any other ad format competing for that market share. As you know, I usually give you long answers. I'll try to make it short, but I think that first of all, it depends a lot on who you are as an advertiser, as a publisher, as a developer, right? I think that if you are a small publisher, like a 5 people company, and you are just, you have a couple of games and you want to try Playable Ads, the first thing that you should do is go out there and develop a Playable Ad as cheap as possible. Like try out all the AI stuff around. If you can use some gameplay and turn it into, a Playable Ad, that's pretty easy to do with some tools out there, like create a video to Playable. Do that. Test it out. Don't spend 4K, 5K, 6K in doing a Playable Ad. And I'm super honest. And like for me, it's not good for business what I'm saying, but it's the truth. Like there's no need to spend that if you are that type of publisher. You will see that that type of Playable will give you some results. What it will happen is that if you create a better Playable Ad, you will have better results, but you may not be at that point yet, right? So that's one scenario. If you're a mid publisher, you have some revenue, you want to test some things out, I would definitely recommend to go out there and create a Playable Ad, something custom, and think of variations and iterations for the Playable Ad. And this means treat a Playable Ad production as if it were a video production. And what we usually do is we create a concept. And from that concept, we start thinking like, what if we change the hook? What if we change the CTA? What if we change the colors, the main character, the dynamic of the actual Playable? What if we win, we lose? So I think you should go into that, definitely, if you're a mid publisher. But you should be very careful about thinking of creating Playable Ads internally, meaning hiring someone and have it in your team, because it's not that easy, to find the expertise, to get someone to explain what the game is about, So that's why outsourcing is a very good idea. And I think that when it comes to the third layer, it's like the top or biggest publishers out there. It's pretty similar to the mid publishers, like create like a concept strategy from variations, iterations, but scale it. I think that's the problem that very large publishers have. How do they create 50, 70, 100 playables a month and have control over that and measure results and data and etc. And yeah, I think that about how to start crafting playables.
So if they are scaling playable ads, is that where you guys come in? You would manage that scale?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that when we started Adsmood, we were just thinking in execution. So that means that we were having publishers as clients. They were requesting us to create playables or videos or wherever. And we were expecting them to tell us exactly what we needed to do, right? So then we figured out that it wasn't the case. Like most of the clients were, expecting from us to deliver like a layer of service. And after we got that covered, and pretty good, to be honest, because we hired some amazing people in the team, we realized that there is another layer up here, which has to do with strategy, right? So whether the client has a person here that controls the strategy or it doesn't, right? And if it doesn't, we came in here. And I think that scaling has to do with strategy, having control of, if I'm producing 50 playable ads a month, which is a lot, how I'm going to measure that? How do I know that I'm spending a lot of money correctly? What is the return of investment of that? And we can do both. We can be like the help that a strategy person needs in a company to have discovered, or we can be that person itself to let anyone internally in the company know how this scale is going. But we can definitely do that.
Okay. My next question, I guess this is like the $5 million question, is like, is there an ideal playables versus video versus I don't know, like other creative strategy ads, or does it depend per game? Does it depend, like, have you found a best practice?
Um, I think that the first answer is no. We haven't found it, like, not the ideal, but the absolute solution for each and each specific partner, each specific client. I think that it has to do a lot with what type of client you are, what is your market, what is your type of game. You mentioned those, right? But yes, we figured out that when it comes to creative execution, you can think of like different layers. And there, for instance, you have a lot of partners out there creating ads, copying what other competitors are doing, right? So they go into Sensor Tower, to name one, or AppMagic, or whatever the partner is that you use. They take out what are the top performers in each vertical or in each country or for each language, and then they replicate that dynamic for themselves, right? So that's true. Like probably those ads are going to work just fine, right? But if you want to nail it, you have to be not crazy, but you have to be different, right? And the only way to be different is to be creative. So that's when, for example, you think about AI. and it's a commodity, right? Everyone can use AI, and if we all use AI the same way, we are all going to have the same actual results. So that's why you still need people in the in the background working and creating new ideas. So I think, to sum it up, the ideal strategy has to combine a little bit of both, right? What's happening in the market and what can I do to be different, to nail it. And I think that's what we try to do at Adsmood. There's one more thing I think it's worth mentioning, which is that when a client comes in, most of the time they probably have like some idea of what they want, but they don't have like 100% clear what they need, right? So we start discussing with them and so on. If there are clients that they are like, hey, we need this and that, of course we can execute, we can do that. But being honest, we can provide more value, right? So we got into that strategy layer that I mentioned before and start proposing this view when it comes to creative production.
How many iterations does it take usually before a winner is found?
Oh, no, I can't. Well, I cannot say. I can't answer that, to be honest. Like, it has happened to us that we created a video ad. It wasn't regarding Playable ad. It was a video ad. We created one. It was like a win-lose scenario, and then from the winning, we produced like 3 iterations. I think it was regarding CTAs. Like, we changed CTAs, and we found a top performer. And then we have clients that they work with us like 3 months, and they didn't continue working with us because they were looking for a top performer, and we created like 25, 30 different variations, and we couldn't find it. And you have to tell not only the wins but also the losses that you have. And it's very frustrating, of course. But for example, in that case, we know that we did our best. And we iterate, and we, of course, review all the process. And it was like, okay, this is what we do. And we know how the market works. And if you can name me one solution or one agency that promises top performers in 30, 45 days, I will hire them, like, being honest.
Sure.
But if I have to guess a number, I would say between 7 and 10 iterations from a video ad, and probably between 3 and 5 iterations from a Playable ad. And maybe not a top performer, but a second or a third top performer, you should be able to find something out there. Yeah. Well, we've been working with a company that creates like battle games with vehicles, right? Like cars or helicopters, and everything was in 3D. And creating playable ads in 3D is very complex because of many reasons, but number one reason has to do with the weight. Like, the playable ads cannot be more than 5 megabytes, and it's very complicated due to polygons and the size of the materials that we work with, and the quality that the client is looking for, to compress everything and that the player actually work, right? Make it available for all the ad networks, because each ad network has its own specs. We were able to create a few playable ads that they're pretty good in 3D, and they're working very, very, very well in different ad networks at the same time. Number one, of course, Uploading, which is the number one partner right now for playable ads. So that I usually mention that case because it was 3D, because you need like real know-how to actually pull it off. And we were very happy with the results. You can see that in our portfolio. It's a very nice Playable ad. And we create like 4 different variations of it. It's really good. When I was a head of user acquisition, I think it was like 10 years ago. And it's very hard. I think that Playable ad would be
Do you think
like,
it's
if I have to
essential?
craft. Yeah,
Is it an essential or is it a test?
no, it's not essential. No, for me, no. For me, it's not. For me, it's not. And again, I like being honest. Like, I would say I should be saying yes, but not essential. If you want to scale, you need Playable ads. Period. Period. But if you want to test your audience, if you want to look for CPIs, if you want to check retention, if you want to see how you can retain your users and your gamers, there is no need to create a super expensive Playable ad. If you want to like think about this, and it's not due to the format, it has to do more with the channel, right? So if you want to run Playable ads, you have to use a blobbing. If you want to use a blobbing, you have to spend a lot of money. And if and you and it's there's no need to actually spend a lot of money if you are testing an idea or you're just you're doing a soft launch. So if that's the case, if you want to still create a Playable ad, don't spend a lot of money creating a custom Playable ad. Go out there, choose your top performer as a video, create a Playable ad from that, and just test it out. And then if you want to scale, there's going to be a moment where you might be using Google, you might be using Meta, you might be using any other, maybe Unity, maybe Moloco. That's fine. Where you are going to see your numbers and you're going to be stuck. You're not going to be able to scale. And the only way to scale, at least this is the state of the art in January of 2026. Maybe this happens, this changes in 6 months. But if you want to scale, you will need to create Playable ads, and you will need to create like good custom, able to be iterated Playable ads.
Great.